All right, Shantanu Shirke from UL. This is a real pleasure for me because you are, of all the payment experts in the world I've talked to, because I always praise every payment expert I speak to, but you are probably the sharpest one I've talked to. Welcome to the call, Shantanu.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me and my organization to be on this webinar.
Yeah, you are from UL. And I've looked it up. I know people just say UL, but it stands for Underwriters Laboratory, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we are 143, we are into 143 countries. We are a 125-year-old company. Basically we are a safety science company, and we cater across 20 domains, industries. I belong to a division which is called Identity Management and Security. So we are the cybersecurity division of UL. So there are more than 550 security experts within IMS, and we have co-authored more than 25 cybersecurity standards and frameworks. Some of the domains which we cater to within smart ecosystem, payments, mobility, home, building, industry 4.0. And so UL has been in the industry for a long, and we're really into standard certification. That's a little bit background about UL and IMS division in which I work.
Yeah, I think it's highly, but you're a private company, aren't you, UL?
Yes.
It almost sounds like a international sort of body. How would you compare sort of your mission to make the world safer and still being a private company doing that?
So there are two parts to UL. We have an organization, it is a non-profit organization, which is Underwriters Laboratory, which is purely focused on, harmonizing standards, propagating standards, and, bringing multi-region, multi-framework together. And there is a for-profit organization, which is branded as UL, the one I am working with. So it's more on the execution side. So we have a part which is called TIC, testing, inspection, and certification. And then there's another part which is more of an advisory. They're more into advisory part. So these are the major pillars of UL. And as I say, within UL, if you come to IMS, we have a structure where we have a cybersecurity assurance division, cybersecurity enablement, there's a technology, and obviously there is the back office, the support part. So that's pretty much, and we have been interacting with various standard setting bodies, ISO and other regional, in India, we have BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. So we are working with global as well as local standard setting bodies, and together try to bring our harmonized standards in various industries, be it a communication or a consumer technology, be it any energy, a textile, this is just to name few, fire safety, lighting. So these are some of the industries we cater to.
But your area was IMS, sort of identity, and what was the M? What did that stand for?
Identity management and security.
Okay, identity management and security, and that means that within the area of payments, that's part of that, I guess, whole sector. Is that right?
Yeah. So payment is one part of it. Payments, security regarding payments, compliance, certification, and technology. About payments. That's one part to it. But this division also covers other domains like, you have smart ecosystem, you have transportation, so transit, mobility. Then there are smart homes, smart appliances within the homes, buildings, and now, you'll hear a lot about IoT products. So that's Industry 4.0 automation. So IMS division, like I said, is the cybersecurity cell of within UL, and which cut across multiple industries. Yes, with the initial focus was payments, and we continue to support the payment industry.
Okay, so it came out of that, yeah. This is highly interesting. I didn't sort of, I've always saw you as a payment expert, but it's kind of interesting that you work with all this security aspect, because, you know, I do these interviews in, there's one theme per week, and I'm planning next week. It's going to be a wallet security. It's all about that. So this is a great, so we're going to air this on Friday. This is going to lead into that following week in a really an excellent way. But a little bit on you, Shantanu. How long have you been with UL, and where how did you end up there? What did you do before in your career?
So with UL, I will be completing 2 years. You know, within UL, I am the business development manager here. You know, for South Asia, as well as, you know, it's the South Asia region for IMS. I mean, it started around 2018, so it's pretty much young, and we are working as a startup. So we do a lot of stuff, you know, within the South Asia region. Prior to UL, I was working with National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI, who is kind of a de facto, you know, body for all the payment products in India, you know, and within National Payment Corporation of India, they have their domestic scheme, which is called RuPay. So I was the associate vice president.
RuPay is the card scheme, isn't it? It's the yes. Indian MasterCard and Visa type of rail, isn't it? RuPay.
That's
right. Yeah, RuPay. Is it RuPay? RuPay, I guess.
RuPay, yeah.
RuPay, yeah. RuPay. Yeah.
So within RuPay, you know, RuPay, you must have heard they have come up with the National Common Mobility Standard or specification. So I was specifically working on this particular product. You know, it was more of a product development journey.
This is the what I've heard this acronym NCMC. Is this the NCMC cards? Is that what
you're? That's the National Common Mobility card. Yeah. That the acronym is called NCMC. Yeah. So that's how it is spelled, and it was more. You know, the journey had started in 2014. I joined NPCI in 2017. I think the standards were quite, you know, developed and stable. I think it was more of a role of getting it implemented, you know, getting systems, backend systems ready, and pushing it to the market. I think that was a very exciting journey there within NPCI. You know, while I was able to understand the product in totality, but also at the same time work with, you know, various industry, you know, players. So there were issuers, there were acquirers, you know, and there were fintech companies who wanted to, you know, get this specifications implemented. So earlier, I think the plan was for transit, but now I understand it's become, RuPay standards have become the de facto standards for RuPay contactless cards. And so if you are getting a RuPay contactless card, it will be compliant to NCMC. So it will have a contact and contactless interface, plus it will support to offline transaction and online transactions.
Yeah, because it's interesting, because you know, we're all for offline transactions with our digital cash, and but the NCMC cards, they also hold a balance, doesn't it? So that's sort of it's an interesting. There are sort of similarities that you hold a balance actually in and sort of how many rupees do you have on your card? You can download that, and it's similar.
Yes. So the idea was that, you know, definitely. But the journey started, the idea was to look at multiple implementation at a global level, and you know, to see what fits best for the Indian consumer. You know, it was more of a thought process from a consumer end, and I think the world was more divided on an account-based as well as card-based model, and India was very young, and with regards to transit implementation, we had 7 to 8 projects which were implemented. Most of them were closed loop. So while we were moving to an open loop based structure, it was important to decide what fits for the country. And I think there were some aspects which came in, during multiple debates and reviews, that it would make sense for the Indian consumer to have, a safety or security of having a wallet within the card, an electronic purse. So he may park his money, which can be, used only for transit or offline payments. And now I can say safely it can be used in retail also, knowing that, there's POC going around. So it can be used in transit. So the customer need not worry about, losing his money or, or spending it on some other unwanted expense, but to keep it. And while he goes through the various transit systems, be it metro, bus, a regular rail, he can use it. The another angle to this was, uh, if there was a debate that, for some account-based models, there are certain risks, and where the Indian banks willing to take the risk, that was the question. And probably there was consensus that right now was not the time. I mean, it was not the time that the banks were, ready to take that risk. So eventually it came down to that, let's have an offline wallet. So it cuts down the risk. So if the customer has money in his offline wallet, he is allowed to allowed to travel. If he doesn't have money in his wallet, he's just declined, And at the same time, he can use his card as a regular RuPay card. He can go, he can do, a contact transaction, a contactless transaction. And that's absolutely like a normal, dual interface card.
Yeah, so you basically are. It is sort of like a debit card, I guess, or yeah, it's not a credit card. Or it could be credit as well, I guess, on Rupee. But you have in addition balance as well.
Yeah, so it can be in three variants. It can be a prepaid card, it can be a debit card, it can be a credit card, with the additional functionality of an EVO or an electronic wallet. So it's a prepaid plus wallet, it's a debit plus wallet, it's a credit plus wallet. So if you have a prepaid card, all you do is you fund your prepaid card, okay? But within the prepaid card, if you want to keep certain funds for transit or offline payments, you can just park them. There is a provision within the RuPay specs to do that. At the same time, and if you have a debit card, so you can use your regular debit card for all your online payments, and you can move some funds from your current or saving account, through the top-up mechanism in this wallet. And when you travel through the transit system, you can use that offline wallet. Same as with the credit card. There are multiple ways you can implement that credit card plus prepaid wallet or a prepaid purse. You can use your OTBL, which is available to you for your credit card. You can park some funds out of that into this prepaid electronic wallet. If not, you can treat it like a separate prepaid system, within your credit card wallet and fund it. So I think the specs are quite flexible. They do provide the provision of, topping up the card used by way of cash, by way of customer's own account, or even by way of an online transaction. So there are ways customer can reach out to a metro station. He can give cash, get his card topped up. If he doesn't have cash, he can top it up using funds sitting in his accounts. If that is not the case, maybe the customer is at home, he can do an online fund movement. And when he enters the transit system, he can just tap and get the balance updated. So it's quite simple that way, and knowing the Indian customer, which is quite, used to now the way of closed loop cards. He knows that when he has a transit card, he has to go to a particular section at the metro station, or, to top up his card, or if there are not enough funds, or he needs to fund his card through an online mechanism. I think that's the customer behavior. So I don't think that, this holding a RuPay card will make him feel that he's doing something different. It's the same behavior. All he has to do is, just have a debit card, prepaid card, or a credit card.
If we look at the transaction that is happening between the payer having the card and whatever terminal that they are tapping the card against, it's a dual purpose card. It has the NCMC facility with an offline balance, and it's also an EMV, I guess, or a RuPay card, but a credit card, or Is this the same rail? Are you using the sort of card rail for the sort of communication between the card and the terminal, or is it a proprietary rail for the offline balance to pay with that?
So I think that's a little bit story, you know, all the contact transactions, EMV transactions, I think they have a common specs, you know, the common specs and standardized by EMV code. But when it comes to contactless part, you know, I think every scheme has their own. Yeah, I understand EMV code is working, you know, to bring standardization on the contactless side also. But that being said, right now, the situation is that every scheme has its own contactless way or specification. So for NCMC, RuPay has, RuPay has particularly defined its own specification, which do comply, to the EMV standard. You cannot say these are the EMV standards, but yeah, whatever the commands or the way of interaction between the card and terminal, those are standard. But in a way, made for the country or for RuPay. So yes, I think as such, it is an EMV card, but when you're using in contact world, but when it comes to contactless, it is specific, it is made for a specific use. It is made to use as a debit card, credit card, retail payments, and at the same time, it can be used in transit for offline. So there are, although the underlying principle is same, they are following the same commands, same structure, data packets. But yes, it's more customized to cater to the transit use case.
Yeah, no, I understand. So it is dual, but it's as close to whatever the EMV standard or whatever it is, as you say. But maybe, as you said, the EMV contactless payment standard is sort of it is not so harmonized. There are different implementations, yes. And NCMC have theirs, and I guess Visa, Mastercard would have others, and but they're all following similar protocols. Yeah. Looking at our solution, because this was the first time I sort of met you, Shantanu, a few months ago, and I'm extremely happy that we did, because we were just about to talk to some of the networks, and we had our, in a way, generalized idea that you can have a balance, just like you have it on your NCMC cards. We had this vision that, well, we can also have a balance, keep that securely on a mobile phone instead. And otherwise sort of build sort of our ecosystem where we do a signature on the payer side that can be verified, that so you understand in an offline mode it's legit payment, and then you sort of settle there offline, and then we send it off to any sort of online scheme, whether it's EMV, instant payment or real-time payment, or a CBDC for that matter as well. But you really helped us a lot to understand the terminology for EMV, because we were not, I think the networks before you came in, they were talking to us, but we were confusing them because we were not using their language, but you really helped us. And what do we've spoken a few times since then, Shantanu, since that excellent call we had. It was a Saturday, I think. You worked on a Saturday, and so did I. Very useful Saturday. Yeah. What's your thinking now of what we have done? And maybe you want to contrast that to what you did with the NCMC card.
So yeah, I think right now, earlier you were more on a proprietary-based solution, and the idea, I really like the idea that there's a balance, which was sitting there and can be utilized using the phone. I think that's what the world is moving now, to mobile payments. And the only thing I felt was to bring Crunchfish on the EMV rail. And now that is what you are, in the right direction. So one thing is that by doing that, you can get now access to multiple markets, and while you do that, I'm sure that you will adopt the NCMC spec, or be it any other scheme spec, because it's more of an applet which is sitting in the mobile application in a secure location, obviously. And the applet is an active element. It's more of an active element which does the addition and subtraction of funds or keeping of the funds. So uh, uh, I'm really happy that as a UL we could guide a customer, we could help you, and we would continue. So I think the first good thing is forming in strategy which you have done, that you are now on the EMV rail. You are, I can say, on the EMV rail, thinking big and making it more standardized. And it's very similar to what is done in NCMC. And I think it will really bring value. I think for the customers, the solution will bring value to the market, in Indian market, as well as when you go out, into other regions, and if offline payments are accepted, which I see that the other schemes are also planning, I think this is a good solution. And once it's on the EMV rail, it's standardized. It has all the safety features of EMV. It has all the benefits which EMV brings in. Data protection, be it security, and ease of transaction. All these features will be brought into the Crunchfish solution.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's and again, I'm extremely grateful for that Saturday where you helped us just to align it, because I think we were in our own homemade way of explaining it, and I think you saw through it that, well, we just have to brush up your terminology a bit and maybe change one line here and one line there, how it all fits together. But it really helped a lot, and I agree. The scalability and the partnership we can get from being compliant with EMV. That's sort of the largest paying machine in the world, isn't it?
Yes. So yeah, I mean, there are a solution. I'm sure your current solution is also the best. But as you see, the world is moving towards an open loop model.
Yeah.
So everybody is looking for interoperability, be it P2P payments, be it card payments, any form of payments. So everyone wants an interoperable solution, a vendor agnostic solution. They don't want a dependency on particular thing. That's the idea. And I think by doing this, by getting into the other schemes and all the domestic schemes, cloud-based payment, you will achieve kind of an economies of scale, and obviously it will help bring this an offline-based, mobile-based solution to the Indian consumer and the consumer across the globe.
Yeah, when we started with this, Shantanu, we were thinking very much about the situation of offline, basically that you are offline. Maybe we're thinking maybe a lot about the connectivity problem that you might have. But what we have experienced now in the COVID situation is that there's so many people who want to use mobile payments because they don't want to touch cash, and in a physical store you still have to pay. So a lot of people are in India now, it's just going quickly towards digitization. But then the bank servers on the UPI rail, the real-time systems of India, it's not coping to respond within the time limit of 20 seconds. And you have, I don't know, you work with a lot of, I guess, banks as well, or you are consulting to them as well. I don't know, do they feel this pressure that right now there are a lot of declines simply because of timeouts in the servers? Is that being felt right now in India?
I think I wouldn't comment on any organization, but there were some disruptions, and this was new, because till last year everything was and the market was online. Everybody was doing things normally, and there was fair share of card transaction as well as a fair share of faster payments. In India we have UPI. I think the COVID situation changed many things, and one of the things was more people got digitalized. They learned how to make payments through their phone, and and obviously that put pressure on the network, and the IT systems of the organizations who are involved in it. And I think, yeah, there were some disruptions here and there, but they're coping up. I think with, uh, they have their learnings, and I'm sure by, I mean, we are at the start of this year. By before the end of the year, I think things would be, as normal, and we're happy. I think we're lucky that we have that kind of solution, UPI, which is kind of an,
Yeah, no, I'm not complaining about UPI. It's per se. I think it's a wonderful solution. It's just, I think that what is it, 2.5 billion transactions a month.
yes. Yes.
And that's also out of MPCI. You talked about Rupee,
Yes.
which is sort of your Indian card scheme, but there is also then UPI, obviously, which is a four-party model. What is it? 250 banks, 120 or more apps, which is just a phenomenal system. So I'm not sort of complaining about that. But what I think is interesting here is that our offline type of capability, the fact that at the moment of payment between the customer and the merchant, we can make that as an instant transaction. There is no need to wait for the remitting bank to basically say, yes, there is enough money in the account, so you can let go of the customer. I think the beauty of our solution here, I think that we can have the transaction between the customer and the merchant as one step. And it's an instant step, local, offline. Even if you have connectivity, it's still a separate step. And then you would send up the transaction as a separate step. That separation, I think, provides both support for that you can do it if you don't have connectivity, but it will help the servers because you take them off the pressure. In the time-critical moment of payment, no one has to wait anymore. And I really think that in a market where there are timeouts because of, people are waiting. And it's affecting the card servers as well, because the banks have sort of the same service for cards as well as for UPI. I just think this is such a brilliant solution for the Indian market at the moment.
Absolutely. I think that's what the market has also realized. I think there's a fair amount of debate that what offline, any mode of offline payment, what value would it bring? I think there are two things. One is you rightly mentioned that it will take off, for all the small payments, it will take off the load from the network. Obviously, smaller payments can be done offline, between the card and the terminal or between the handset, be it UPI, be or any other mode, So these smaller payments can be taken out of the network to bring down the load. Second thing is, again, it comes to customer psyche, if you are keeping some money out, from your CASA, your current account, your saving account, and keeping it separate. And that this money, you are going to use it for a certain purpose, be it buying some small things or transit system. So you're not worried about, actually, opening your account, to a larger use case, or, that, for example, transit. Let's say a transit card, there's small value payments. You don't have to, allow the transaction entire till your account. You just have,
It's almost like PayPal, isn't it? The same idea of PayPal. It is a wallet, just like PayPal is a wallet. You don't want to expose maybe to a lot of people your sort of your whole account, as you said, but you can expose sort of a limited aspect of it, just like PayPal is doing. It's taking you away. You don't have to show your credit cards. You don't have to show accounts. You just have your PayPal account as working as an intermediary.
Moreover, I think if you take the transaction speed, I think in EMV, they have specified for a contactless transaction, it has to be less than or equal to 500 milliseconds.
Yeah.
So it additionally brings in, this kind of value, where your transaction can happen in maybe a bit more than 500 milliseconds, but that's fine. I think that's within within a minute. So, you're done. You're done with your transaction. You moved out. Now, yeah, with offline payments, there are certain things which people, will have to watch out. Is definitely they need a strong, reconciliation system, because obviously the transactions are done offline. They'll have to be reconciled, settled. At the same time, the customer, there should be a comfort for the customer that when he's done offline payment, I think he gets the information of the transaction, what is it. And that's where I felt that Crunchfish, with your mobile-based solution, I think being done that solution, customer gets that info, that he has done an offline payment. So he knows that an offline payment has been done, successful or declined. And at the same time, there are, when the transaction completes, and are treated like an offline settlement. So the transactions are settled by the banks. So this brings a comfort, the customer who is holding in his hand the mobile, and he's done an offline transaction. He's got an info that he's done an offline transaction. At the same time, once it's done, the merchant who settles the transaction, he need not be worried, because his transactions are now going to be reconciled and settled, and he's going to get paid. So this is what the value add I felt, with bringing offline plus mobile, that was what I felt was a unique thing which Crunchfish solution can bring, when it comes to the EMV rail. And this is a value add you should be looking for from the Crunchfish solution.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we, next week, as I said, we this is sort of really your territory as a safety or security company. We will talk about security next week. We'll talk about. I hope, I haven't done these interviews yet, but I hope to. I'll definitely do one with Viki, who have done our software-based secure element, the VOS, where we can have a trusted execution environment running securely within their vault. So that's sort of one. I hope also to do one on behavioral biometrics, which is, I don't know if you are into that area, but we have a partner company that we are starting talking to, which is quite interesting, because they could recognize that on a mobile phone, this is, your behavior of how you are operating your own device. They can sort of check that this is most likely you who has done it, or they can, and that would be a nice thing with the reconciliation, as you're telling, because the banks could then cut off wallets that this doesn't look like this is sort of a,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a UL, I think what we have helped multiple customers, in kind of defining or standardizing their mobile-based solution, while ensuring that it brings in the best behavior and value. But this is, I think, unique. It's a unique, really unique, which I hear, and I will be happy to connect, separately offline and understand what exactly. As a security expert, I think we at UL, we have worked with multiple players, like e-secure element-based companies, or TEs, hardware-based TEs, or be it a company who's implemented a white box cryptography. So we're quite enough, but it would be interesting to know, and hear Wiki, because, there are very few software-based TEs in the world, or that kind of an implementation. So it will be really good to hear about.
And I would love now, since I know you, Shantanu, and because I think it would make a lot of sense for us to certify, if we're going to run on the EMV rail. I think we should certify our solution with our components. So it's because then it makes it even more easier for a bank or for a third-party application provider or PSP to just use our solution, because it's already certified. And I guess this is sort of a service that UL could potentially do for us.
Definitely. So whenever there is a solution which is there, and there are issuer banks, there are multiple stakeholders in the industry, I think it brings a comfort to them when you are kind of complying or certified to certain standards. So now, for example, if there are certified SDKs, for the libraries, and those are certified for different scheme, be it RuPay, be it, any other international card scheme. If the end bank or the customer knows that this is certified, certified by UL, it kind of brings in, that comfort that it's a certified product. So vice versa, I think definitely we would look ahead to the solution. So as an integrated solution between Wiki and Crunchfish solution certified SDK, we would definitely help Crunchfish, get it certified. And I think that's the way ahead. So once you're certified, the market knows that you have completed all the activities which are compliant to the defined standards by the schemes. So that definitely brings in value and comfort to the end customer.
Yeah, no, sure, and I'm, as I said, very happy to have met you, Shantanu, and being exposed to your wonderful company. How big is UL? How many people is it worldwide? Because it must be quite a few.
Yeah, so we as a company, we are, there are more than 10,000 people resources in the organization, and we cater to 143 countries, around 20 industries, and we have helped more than 1,600 standards, defining safety, security, quality, and sustainability. So it's quite an old organization. It's quite sad, and we are there. I think you name an area with regards to safety, security. We're there. We're there to help the customer, guide them. I think that's about you.
Yeah, fantastic. Where is the headquarters of UL? I know you're based in where in India are you, Shantanu?
I am based out of Mumbai. The India headquarters is in Bangalore. UL as a company, we are a US-based company. Our headquarters is Northbrook. And the IMS division headquarters is in Leiden, Netherlands.
The Leiden, Netherlands for IMS, identity.
Yes. Identity management and security. So that's where our leadership team sits. So
so very extremely international. So US headquarters, but your division is led out of Netherlands, and you are in India, sort of.
Yeah. So labs, I think we have we have a couple of PCI certified labs across the globe. There's one in Melbourne, Nansha, Basingstoke in UK. There are certain other labs in France, in US, which are also helping customers in all the region. We are working with domestic and international schemes, be it in India, be it RuPay, in Brazil, ELO, you name the schemes, and we are working with them. So it's a privilege for us, to work with the international as well as domestic schemes and help the market, to get safer. That's our mission, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. I think it's almost like, as I said, I was just contemplating on it. I think you are the experts of the experts, because there are payment experts in these organizations, and I guess these experts would turn to you as their sort of in order to get their solution certified and complying to the standards, and so it's it's fantastic. And again. That just shows my ignorance. I wasn't aware of you just 2 months ago when Gagan introduced me to UL and you, Shantanu, and we had a fantastic Saturday, and never forget it. And that put us, at least terminology-wise, over that good Saturday compliant with the EMV rail. And then since then we've done some more, just some details, but we're there, as you say, and we're going to continue working on the standards, just to be because that gives us so much scalability.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's you're on the right track. So I'm sure that once you have integration done, I think this is a fantastic product, and I see that it is definitely going to bring value for the market. And anything to do with mobile, it's good. I mean, there's a lot of customer base, and and people are quite acquainted now with the phone. Gone is the age or time when people were reluctant to have smartphones, but now I think we as a country, India, has the highest penetration of mobile phones, and that too highest usage of smartphones. So I'm sure this is you are on the right path, and this is going to bring good times in future.
Yeah, excellent. No, Shantanu, I want to thank you so much. I think that's a good note to end on this interview, and it's been a privilege, and thank you so much for all your support so far. And I think we will do a lot of business with UL going forward, because there's a lot of things that needs to be certified for sure.
No, we're happy, and it's a pleasure as a customer and as a company, knowing you guys. We're happy to work with you. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks so much.
Have a good day. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye.